New developments involving the Trump administration and international students enrolled at Harvard. U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement sent the university a letter that gives the school 30 days to challenge the administration's ruling that stopped it from enrolling international students. The letter comes 1 week after Homeland Security announced it had terminated Harvard's exchange visitor program. The Trump administration says Harvard gave up the right to host international students on campus because it allowed students to violate civil rights, including allowing anti-Semitic behavior. Today's face-off in court comes as the Secretary of State, Marco Rubio, just announced the administration will aggressively revoke visas of Chinese students. Let's get some more insight on what's at stake here by welcoming Mary Gallagher, an expert in Chinese politics at the University of Notre Dame. Thanks for being with us.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Of course, what do you make of the news late yesterday?
So the news so far, I think, is very difficult to understand the impact. The language that I understand Secretary Rubio using was students with an affiliation with the Chinese Communist Party or in critical technologies. The problem with the language is that I believe it's way too broad and it's very vague. It'll be very difficult for Chinese students to interpret. And what will likely happen is that we will further turn away international students from China as well as from many other places around the world.
What impact would that have, not just at your university, but at those across the country?
Chinese students make up the second largest group of international students after India. For many years, American universities have attracted international students from around the world. As an expert in Chinese politics, I often work with Chinese students. I believe overwhelmingly they come here to take advantage of our great higher education environment as well as our open political environment. They're often leaving China because their campuses are not as free. They don't have freedom of speech. And the United States has long been a beacon for many international students.
I know this news is just hours old. Have you had a chance to talk with any of your students from China about it?
As soon as the tweet went out from Secretary Rubio, I started to hear from my own Chinese students that are very, very afraid, very fearful that they will be forced to leave the United States. In many cases, I'm a political scientist. I have Chinese students who study issues that the Chinese government doesn't want them to study, and they fear being sent back to a government that doesn't welcome them. So it's really too bad to see this really vague and I think very intimidating message come out.
What effect do you think this might have on U.S. businesses if it goes through?
Well, a lot of Chinese students who come to the United States study in fields like engineering, computer science, business. They often want to stay. Overwhelmingly, they want to stay in the United States long term for employment. So this will have an effect immediately on universities, of course, but longer term, it will have an impact on our competitiveness in terms of science and technology. And it will also have an impact on businesses in terms of attracting global talent.
And what do you expect to happen next?
Well, I think with a lot of these things, we need to see the language. I think there are some concerns that the government has that are completely legitimate about making sure that national security is protected, that some fields foreign students aren't allowed to study in or aren't allowed into laboratories. I think that's perfectly, of course, needed and fine. But I think as with these kind of more vague and very difficult to interpret broad mandates, I think we need to see how they will be implemented, what the language is, and then, of course, what will happen with the courts. Will this order be taken through the courts by universities?
All right, Professor Mary Gallagher, an expert in Chinese politics at the University of Notre Dame. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Thank you so much.